The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Breaking news.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, of course, the Democrat from New York, AOC, is now telling networks that they should not air President Trump's address to the nation on Thursday. President Trump is going to be speaking. He says it has to do with election integrity. And I guess Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doesn't care about election integrity and doesn't think anybody should listen to President Trump. This is the woman who is backing Graham Plattner. This is the woman who's been pushing with all of these DSA candidates across America. And she wants to tell us about integrity in America? You have got to be kidding me. She's been the poster child for it. Her and Bernie Sanders are the ones who've been all over the country talking about how they want people like Chevalier and some of these others who have said that they wash their hands with the American flag. I guess that's okay by AOC, but God forbid we hear from President Trump. This is so crazy. Also, it comes as the Democratic Socialist agenda gets unveiled. And in their crazy new platform, not only do they want to abolish the U.S. Senate, they also want to abolish the president, the Supreme Court, amnesty for all immigrants, also abolish the Pentagon, the Department of War. They want Medicare for all. They want no deportations, even for those who have been convicted of criminal, very serious offenses like murder and rape. And now there's another new one. They want corporations to be publicly owned. They don't want anybody to make any money. And then they also want to have a day off, calling it, say, a day from capitalism where you don't have to pay your bills anymore. I mean, how could society function with these policies? And is there anybody out there who maybe has a screw loose who says, oh, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a really good practical idea. But this is the hogwash as we're talking about the indoctrination of young people that young people are buying. Oh, gosh, I don't have to pay my bills. That sounds great. Oh, I get free buses. That sounds great. Obviously, in practice, this is insane. So here is Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary, with his thoughts on the DSA platform.
I've got news for the Democrats. They need to wake up and smell the coffee. The socialist arising in the United States is going to be the kiss of death for many Democrats throughout the country. They are not there to work with the Democrats. They are there to take over from the Democrats. And it's about time the Democrats stood up to the growing socialist movement and stood up for principles, Sean, like you just walked through, things they should object to, that once made them a great party that was competitive. This is terrible for the Democrats.
And here is Texas Congressman Brandon Gill, who says he has his doubts of the loyalty of the members of the DSA.
That's Democrats saying, Democratic Socialists saying that they believe that the United States was built on a platform of rape and genocide. That's them saying that they believe that they should fundamentally tear apart our country to rebuild it in a communist image. That's coming from their own words, and I think that most Americans recognize that nobody can be trusted to govern our country in its best interest if you don't love the country to begin with. If you fundamentally hate who America is, who the American people are, and the principles that built this country, you have no business running its government, and you're obviously not going to run it for the benefit of the American people. So this is going to rip apart the Democrat Party, but this is who they are, and I think that's the biggest thing to remember now. This is not a fringe group anymore. This is who the Democrat Party is.
And if you want homeless people all over the place, and you want people to not have prisons, and you want no police or police with guns, welcome to the Democratic Socialists of America's view of America. I mean, that's like crazy. It is totally crazy. One of the big stories that a lot of people are talking about around the country, I don't know how many of you have come to visit fabulous New York, which is going down fast because Mondani is driven out just in the last year from millionaires. $11 billion is the estimate of worth that he has driven out of New York City. I guess that's a record, how much he is driving out. And it looks like he's going to drive him out even more. The USS Intrepid, which is a great ship. I've done a number of events there on the USS Intrepid. And it's a big aircraft carrier. It's docked on the West Side Highway in Midtown Manhattan. And tourists come all the time there. Veterans go all the time there. You see it often during Fleet Week and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? So now there has been set up right near the Intrepid, right near the beautiful Intrepid, and obviously a beacon of U.S. military might and history, 12 blocks long in New York City. That's long. 12 city blocks long of a homeless encampment. And apparently there's prostitution flourishing there, drugs. And today we just got an update that actually they're getting electricity. How are you getting electricity to a homeless encampment? Why is that happening? And who's providing the electricity? Why don't they just try to get them off the streets? Because nobody wants to see 12 blocks long of homeless people right by a U.S. aircraft carrier or on any street in America. That's a disgrace. Get these people help, get them off the street, and don't have like contamination and diseases and all these problems. Well, one of the vagrants apparently that was interviewed, I think it was by the New York Post, went so far as to calling Zohran Mamdani, the mayor of New York, awesome for allowing the unsanitary encampment to thrive and for halting police raids that used to clear out those unsightly settlements. And apparently, Zohran Mamdani, there are reports, is essentially telling police to stand down. Do not fix them. That's not a good thing. That's not a nice thing to do to these people. Well, what about the rest of society? And remember when the weather was so cold, Mamdani didn't want to get rid of the people that were under the bridges, and a number of people died because it was freezing outside. Now it's boiling hot, it's humid as heck, and it's scorching heat. And you're going to let them, maybe, is he the one who sent the electricity? What, so they could have air conditioning in their nice little tents? I mean, is that what this is about? This is pretty scary stuff. And this is maybe a sign of the times of what, I guess, communism and what democratic socialism is all about. So here is Bruce Blakeman. He was with us earlier on Katz and Cosby. He is running for governor of New York. And he talked about just how dangerous this is for the people and for everybody else.
Well, first of all, when I become governor, I will stop it immediately. I would have the state health department come in there, and they would immediately close down that operation, and we would have alternatives already in place. That's what a good leader does, has options on how we can help these people. Because, as I said, most people that are homeless have severe emotional issues, and we need to treat them. We need to find out what their issues are. Are they substance abuse? Are they alcoholism? Or is it emotional illness? Because normal people don't choose to live on the street. And we never get to the root cause of the problem and try to solve it. We do things like Zohran Mamdani does, not we, but they do things like Zohran Mamdani and Kathy Hochul in the interest of appearing to be ultra-liberal, progressive, and compassionate. Let the people do whatever they want, wherever they want, and the hell with the rest of everybody else. That's just poor leadership.
Yeah, they seem to be turning a blind eye to what looks like a shanty town. Again, now covering 12 city blocks and getting electricity. They get fanned while they're out there too? How is that inspiring them to get off the streets? And here's a little bit more from Bruce Blakeman, again, the New York GOP candidate for governor endorsed by President Trump. He says it is clearly liberal leadership, not just in the city, but in New York State, to blame.
Well, it's a disgrace. And basically, Zohran Mamdani and Kathy Hochul are turning New York City into a third world country, just like they're doing with the state. And this is indicative of the fact that they are not looking out for the local communities. They're not looking out for the people that live in those communities. They're not looking out for the store owners that have to do business in those communities. Basically, they have this wild ideology thinking that by letting people set up homeless encampments throughout New York City, taking over communities, that this is somehow, some way is the right thing to do and that it's compassionate. It's not compassionate. Most of these people in the homeless camps need help. They have emotional illnesses. They need treatment for drugs and alcohol. They need services. And sometimes you have to push people into those situations where they can get help, not leave them out there on their own, on the street, actually nurturing them to live on the street and destroying neighborhoods. It's an absolute disgrace.
I would say somehow they're getting electricity. Again, we need to find out who's giving them the electricity. Who's giving them that? What are they bringing in? Refrigerators, air conditioners, feeding them grapes? 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Gail in Pennsylvania, line 4. Go ahead, Gail. Your thoughts tonight. What are you thinking? On line 4.
Hi, Rita. Hope everything is well with you. I feel communism, socialism is terrible. It has never worked. And frankly, I think we should be scared. And yet I hear the legacy media, otherwise known as fake news, continuing the indoctrination. It's like ongoing, and a lot of people seem to fall for it. And I think I had mentioned this to you once before. I do feel there's predatory capitalism going on, which is really socialism with these media conglomerate billionaires. I really think they want it's cronyism. They want their Democrat cronies to put on a lot of regulations and taxes, get the Democrats in, because they want to put out any small business or innovator competitors. Because, as a small business person myself in the past, I never would have wanted more regulation and taxes. That was always a problem for business. Right.
So why would they create? Now, do you believe, as you're talking about, where do you see it going? Let's talk about even the midterms, Gail. What do you think's going on with the midterms? Because this is really crazy. I feel like the Democrats, they're scared of their own shadow, especially when it comes to these socialists and their views. How do you think all of this affects the midterms and small business owners, how they're going to vote in the midterms?
Rita, I wish I had more confidence in the integrity of our elections. And to me, right now, it's highly upsetting that the Senate is not passing the SAVE Act. Not only not passing the SAVE Act, but not calling a recess and allowing President Trump to get appointments in that they already did in the past for Democrats. So I'm Republican, although I tend to be an independent thinker, but I am Republican, strongly Republican, and I'm very disturbed. We desperately need the SAVE Act, because if we have election integrity, we win in a landslide. Otherwise, it's very hard for me to feel confident in these elections.
Yeah, I agree. And now, did you hear the latest? President Trump is going to be doing this speech on Thursday night. It's an address to the nation. And it's supposed to be focusing, Gail, a bit on free and fair elections is sort of his focus. And AOC says the network shouldn't carry it. What do you make of that real quick?
Because she knows probably that she can't win with free and fair elections, because she's a, whatever you want to call her, socialist, communist. Socialism basically devolves into communism. It's just a harder tyranny. But I know they can't win if it's fair.
Right. And Trump is calling them out. That's a good point. Trump is calling them out for saying, why would you want to keep these criminal migrants, especially even the most violent ones in this country. I mean, you heard what the DSA believes in. I mean, it's a lot of the things they're saying to me are so dangerous for national security and so anti-American. And President Trump seems to be one of the few people who has the guts to call it out. And they don't like it. So they want to undermine him at all costs. Gail, let's see what happens on Thursday. And let's see if any networks listen to AOC. Thanks so much, Gail. And everybody will continue after the break. 1-800-848-9222.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's go to your calls, guys. Let's go to Ben in Brooklyn on line 5. Ben, your thoughts tonight. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rita, my thoughts are, number one, Blakeman, he should focus on pro-life. He should be strongly pro-life. And my reason is, number one, black people as a group vote Democratic. Okay, so another point is... Wait.
What are you talking about? He should be pro-life. Black people vote Democratic. What does that have to do? I'm sorry. Are you like on drugs or what?
Rita, you broke off. You interrupted before I finished my argument.
All right, well, finish it. Makes sense.
Okay, so if you listen... Well, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But, okay, so my point is that... the other guy that was running for governor, he's very close. Governor Hochul brought up the abortion issue that this guy, as a Republican, he's not for abortion. So my point is that what Blakeman should do, he should go to black churches, tell, for example, the black community before abortion.
All right, hey, Ben, here's what you got to do. I'm gonna hold you on. I'm gonna give you 15 seconds when we come back because you gotta sum it up. But stick with us.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Rita Cosby is on.
All right, so let's go back to round 2. Ben from Brooklyn, go ahead, sum it up.
All right, thanks, Rita, for taking time.
All right, get to the point, well. Ben.
As I mentioned, if he wants to win, he's going to have to be big time pro-life.
Ben, do you always talk back to people like that? Is that how it is in your house? As I mentioned, can your wife get a word in edgewise?
Hey, Rita, I'm a single black male. I've been
obviously you're single because if you talk to people like that, you're going to be single a lot longer. Because you call into a show and you're sitting there can I sum it up? This is not the Ben show. All right. Everybody has a right to say, but you got to hurry up. So I'm going to give you one more chance, Ben, just because I'm in a good mood tonight.
Well, as I mentioned, Rita, thanks for letting me have this time. I'll just say thanks and goodbye.
Thank you very much. It was such a nice conversation. Wow. No wonder he's single, guys. Sal in New Jersey. Sal, what do you think? I think we need psychiatric help after Ben.
Yeah, I think so. Rita, I want to bring up 2 issues. The first one is I would like to complain about how these Democrats complain about those illegals that got shot by ICE accidentally. They complain about that ad nauseum, but they never complained about the poor women like that woman in Chicago that got shot in the head by the illegal
Lori Gorman, Sheridan Gorman, Sheridan Gorman.
Other people.
Sheridan Gorman is her name, Sal. You're right. From Loyola University. You're right. You are absolutely right.
And they don't talk about the women, the children that got trafficked across the border, the women that are getting gang raped by these illegals. It's terrible. They're not bringing those things up. And the second issue I want to bring up is that we shouldn't give airtime to all these Democratic Socialists of America. Can you imagine if we gave airtime to Nazis in America when they were here in America? While we were at war with Nazi Germany in the 40s, if we gave them airtime, we would have lost the war. You don't give airtime to people in this country that want to destroy this country.
You know, the problem is, Sal, and I wish it was that simple. The problem is that they are growing, and that's one. And two, they're in many places. I mean, there are a lot of places where they just feel like, oh, I don't love this country, or I don't appreciate this. I don't like the flag. And some of them are not such, well, let me play this just to give us a good example, Sal. Stay with us. This is Sunny Hostin. This is Cut 49. And Sunny Hostin was asked about the American flag. And listen to what she said. She kind of said this one time on The View, where she's a host every day. And now she was on a podcast and she doubled down. I mean, this to me is very, very ominous. Take a listen.
There are times when I walk into a community and I see American flags all over the community, and I suddenly feel unsafe because there is a section of this country that has co-opted the American flag, and they equate being an American or an American flag with white supremacy, and that should never be the symbol of white supremacy, but they have weaponized.
Because the flag belongs to all of us.
It does belong to all of us.
So I stand by that. Yeah, and it's something you've said and been very consistent about, and I've heard it from other people of color for sure.
Well, I was going to say what's interesting is that this is not a new conversation amongst the black community, in the black community.
So, Sal, what do you make of that? Like, where she feels threatened by the presence of the American flag. Is that anti-American, is my point?
Of course it's anti-American, because that's what I call America-phobia. I got a new name for it, Rita. What do you think about that?
Actually, you know, it is. You're right. It's like Trump derangement syndrome. This is like flag derangement syndrome. I mean, how could they feel that way, Sal? Where is it that people feel threatened by the American flag? Honestly, where is the basis for that?
Because they've been brought up, they've been indoctrinated all these years that America's a bad country. They've been taught that America's racist, oppressive, that we're not the land of opportunity, that capitalism is evil. And I would also like to say, Rita, is that, do you imagine if somebody said that the BLM flag or the Black Lives Matter flag or the transgender flag was evil? They would be hanged.
100%. 100%. That's why it is so completely inappropriate, some of these comments that come out from these people. And I don't even think they hear themselves, because it goes back to, Sal, that they're talking in an echo chamber. But the reason I do think it is still important to talk about some of these comments from people like her, but especially even on the other end where, you know, extreme even further, like a DSA folks. I don't know if she's DSA or not, but I'm just saying DSA folks. I mean, their stuff is so crazy. It's so out of control and it's so dangerous. And to sit there and say there shouldn't be any ICE, there shouldn't be any police shouldn't be armed. I mean, that comment from Abdul El-Sayed is downright dangerous. Do police really need guns? Was his comment. I mean, that's like Looney Kazooneyville. I want to play that one again. This is Cut 31. And this is Abdul El-Sayed. He's the guy, Sal, who's running for Senate in Michigan. And this is what he said with a straight face. Take a listen.
Do police really need to use guns? Do we need as much of a police force? And so if we ask ourselves about how we spend money in the public, where that money goes, where it comes from, we need to make a lot better decisions about investing in the things that root out poverty, rather than investing in policing poverty. And we need to understand that these are racialized questions because of systemic racism. When we make a choice to invest in policing in a majority black community rather than to invest in public schools, that choice is influenced by systemic racism. And so we need to take that on, we need to root it out, and we need to be investing in people in the communities in which they live, learn, work, pray, and play, rather than be investing in policing them in those communities. And when we talk about the question of quote-unquote defunding the police, it's a question of asking, how do we right-size government away from the racist ideologies that have led us to investing in war materiel for policing rather than public health for children?
I mean, Sal, to say that police with guns, that's racist, is essentially what this guy's saying.
Because Rita, they have nothing else to stand on, so they use the R word. It's an obsession with these people. And I would also like to say, Rita, is that these DSA and these socialists and these socialist Islamists, they might not be large in number, but it only takes a handful of revolutionary communists to take over, because bear in mind, there weren't that many in Russia, there weren't that many in China, there weren't that many in Cuba, but they managed to rise to the top and oppress the people and take over the government. So we got to take these people seriously and nip it in the bud while we can.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point, and you're right. It may not be a lot of numbers, but they also have a very ardent following. And we saw that. Look, we saw it in the New York City mayor's race. We've seen it in these other races out there, too. So there are a number of them. Sometimes it's the passion, it's the dedication, it's the organization. And they helped propel even a crazy guy like Ram Plattner, who finally met his demise with all his kookiness. Let's go to Steve in Bergen County. Thank you so much, Sal. Let's go to Steve on line 5. Steve, your thoughts tonight.
Hi, Rita. Quick statement, not in connection with what that guy said. He brought up the history of all these places that took over with very small populations. They weren't dealing with 450 million armed people like we have in America. My thing is, I'm a retired police officer, retired military officer, served in 4 combat zones, Rita. I know the law really well.
Thank you for your service, by the way. Steve, thank you.
Thank you. If these people are conspiring together with George Soros and George Soros surrogates to overthrow our government, they've already violated statutes already of the law, and they can be arrested for this. And I think that's what they're attempting to do. But I've said this to you before, Rita. We fix this under Trump, or there's going to be a revolution, and they're not going to like the revolution from the right. It's not going to be pretty. So it goes both ways. There are a bunch of passive cat ladies. The right-wingers, like myself, are very tough. And we have the skill sets required if we have to go that way. I think they're pushing it, and they don't know what they're dealing with. But remember something. Our Civil War and the Revolutionary War of the United States of America was fought by a very small percentage of our population, 2 or 3%. That's it. We don't need the whole population. And not everybody in our population is the enemy, just them.
And obviously, Steve, the key is to beat them in the ballot box. Obviously, that would be the perfect scenario, and have it done democratically and civilly. How concerned are you for this country, I guess, Steve? I mean, when you see this, you're deeply concerned?
Being very objective when I tell you what I tell you, Rita, but I agree with you on the ballot box. But the thing is these people have won all through. I left California 34 years ago. I live in New Jersey now. New Jersey's not as bad as California. They've been cheating for 50 years. That's the only reason why they took hold politically throughout these so-called blue states. California used to be a conservative state when I grew up. Okay, under Ronald Reagan was our governor when I was a child. We had decent governors. We had Pete Wilson, and then it started. People started moving in there, taking over the country incrementally. People weren't paying attention. But the bottom line is that's our current status of our country right now. We need to actually pay attention, and we need to pass the SAVE Act. We need to have legitimate elections because we do not have legitimate elections.
Well, and that's something that President Trump, I think, will start addressing, it sounds like, even more on Thursday night, even though AOC doesn't want anything, it seems like, to do with election integrity. We'll see what President Trump has, where he's revealing where he sees the pitfalls. I mean, the fact that the SAVE Act cannot even be passed, that to me is really troubling, Steve. I mean, that's voter ID, and that's showing proof of citizenship. I mean, that shouldn't be that hard. But for some reason, it's a trick question, and it hasn't been able to pass. And I think that that's deeply, deeply disturbing, because let's see what happens in the midterms. But if for some reason, if the Democrats, get the House or the Senate, one or the other or both, they're going to block everything. If you think it's bad now, this is like a honeymoon compared to what's ahead, Steve. And that's why people do need to stand together and fight good people for what matters and for at least defending at the ballot box. And that's why people can't get lazy. They got to get off their behinds and vote this time, because the stakes could not be higher, as you so genuinely describe. Steve, thank you very much. And again, thank you for your great, great service. Let's go to Don in Islip on line 2. Go ahead, Don, your thoughts tonight.
Hey, Rita.
Hey, Don.
I was just wondering, why can't we use Starlink, Elon Musk's Starlink in Iran, so people could communicate with each other and perhaps, start a revolution against the government?
Well, two things. First off, they need to have weapons to rise up the people, and we got to get more weapons to them. That's one problem. That's a big problem, because they desperately need that. And then two, also, the Iranians have found some way to kind of mess with the GPS, because I actually was wondering the same thing too. And I think that, they've done some pretty sophisticated, technology where they've actually messed with some of the GPS. So that has interfered with things like Starlink and other things. Much more. Yeah. Which is really, and that was sort of starting to happen, by the way, in Ukraine. Remember, at first it didn't, but then Russian technology. Right. So you have to wonder, is it Russian technology that the Iranians are using here to block them here? Because they started to use that in Ukraine and to kind of subvert it. And it seems like the same technology. So you have to wonder, again, what role the Ruskies are having in all of this. Right, Don?
Yeah, well, just because it'd be great to communicate with the Iranian people,
Yeah, and for them to get unfettered information, too. And that's why they did these blackouts, but they also took it one step further, because they sort of knew, okay, well, Elon Musk might come to the rescue somehow, and they didn't want it. Yeah, no, great points, Don. That is actually a really, really good point. What do you think of President Trump coming out and saying that he's going to hit them so hard next week that if they don't come to the negotiating table, he's sort of telegraphing it's going to be power plants, it's going to be bridges. You could tell he's reached the end of his rope.
He has no choice. He tried, but they're making no deals. They're liars. They'll never be telling the truth.
Yeah, they definitely are. They definitely are.
People are suffering.
Oh, you know what, Don? I'm so glad you're talking about the people there, because it is so gut wrenching to hear that they're, the open assassinations that they're doing, and they've.
Oh my God!
Oh, President Trump talked about 52,000 people in just the last few months. Any regime that would do that to their own people. These people are true monsters, and we got to do something to save the good people there that have been so courageous. And to your point, we got to give them right information, and we also got to get them weapons so they can take back their country. But they need to get support too. They need to get. I think they're going to need, maybe some other outside forces. I'm not saying U.S. ones, but some sort of forces to help them, because we got to do something to help them. Don, thank you very much. Really great points. And thank you for staying with us tonight. I know you were on hold a bit. We had a lot of calls. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. We'll continue with your calls right after the break here on The Rita Cosby Show. But first, support our heroes.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment, with a very powerful story from Canton, New York, where a Korean War veteran who survived one of the Korea War's most brutal battles has been recognized by the Republic of Korea for his service more than 70 years after the conflict. Corporal William Rood received the Ambassador for Peace Medal from the South Korean consulate in New York City. It's an award that is given to Korean War veterans in recognition of their service to help preserve South Korea's freedom and democracy during the war. He served with the 13th Combat Engineers, 7th Infantry Division in Korea from 1950 through December 1952. And during his service, he took part in the Battle of Chosin Reservoir, one of the most significant and grueling engagements of the Korean War. It's often referred to as the Frozen Chosin Campaign, the battle which began in November 1950 when approximately 120,000 Chinese troops joined North Korean forces and surrounded roughly 30,000 United Nations troops near the Chosin Reservoir in northeastern Korea. For 16 days, the forces fought their way through the encirclement in temperatures that plunged as low as 35 degrees below zero. Facing enemy fire, troops faced snow, sleet, freezing rain, and high winds. Really a powerful story back there during that time in the Korean War. By the way, more than 10,000 United Nations troops became casualties during that battle, including thousands killed, wounded, or missing. And everybody, America's heroes, need your help. Donate just $11 a month to the absolutely incredible Tunnel to Towers Foundation. They do such great work. Be sure to check them out at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Rita Cosby Show.
I can't believe this. Former MSNBC anchor Joy Reid talking about Lindsey Graham, who died, of course, over the weekend, saying you sold your soul to the devil and now you get to meet him in person. Wow, what a shocking, disgusting comment. Let's go real quick to Mike on line one. Mike, we just have a few seconds. Go ahead.
I don't really, I want to see Zelensky do his fair share of traveling, okay? I don't want to see Darlene go through the same thing that her brother went through.
Oh, that's a powerful point. In other words, you want Darlene Graham take care of herself. She's just a caretaker there for a short time, but wow, how powerful she's there.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?